from Caffeine and Lesson Plans, and today I have the second video in my series for our curriculum choices for the 2017-2018 school year. And so if you're interested, stay tuned and I will be right back. Okay, so today I wanted to show you what my choices were going to be for our Bible lesson, art, and music, because those shouldn't take me too long. I know my last video about our English curriculum, which if you haven't seen is the previous video to this one, was rather lengthy, and I always try to make the videos a little bit concise, because I know we don't always have a lot of time to sit and watch videos. It just so happened that that curriculum was very in-depth, and I wanted to make sure I gave a good look for you at the curriculum in case you were, contemplating buying it. I know that I always like to look through the curriculum beforehand, obviously, to make sure that it was going to work for us. So anyway, today is Bible, art, and music. So Bible, we are going to continue with, the first thing I want to show you is we're going to continue with our Great Bible Adventures. I purchased these a long time ago. I don't even think you can buy them anymore. You might be able to find them on eBay. I haven't looked, but I definitely know that I've searched on Google to see if they're still available. It was one of those, it was like an infomercial kind of thing. Not really an infomercial, but it was like as seen on TV kind of thing. And I bought them like when I was in college. I'm like, ooh, that would be awesome to use with my kids when I have kids someday. And I'm actually using them, so at least my money wasn't wasted. Anyway, they are divided up into categories, and then each category has a number of different stories. So you have the stories on these cards. For instance, this sun is miracles. There's a little sun here. It talks about miracles, and it'll tell you what book of the Bible it's in. So what I try to do is I try to decide on what category we're going to do. So if we're going to do miracles, then I try to put all of those little stories kind of in biblical order. So we start from, if something happened in Genesis, which we know it did, all the way to Revelation, just so that the kids get used to knowing kind of, not necessarily consciously we don't talk about it, but just subconsciously they may know, okay, well that came before that in the Bible. So we'll read the story, and then at the end of the story, the back of these pictures are a puzzle. They're a picture of the story. So what I do is I read this to the kids, and then I have them do the puzzle together, and then after that, let's see, there is this little activity card. So there's some games and different activities. Sometimes I'll copy these and let them do it on their own, or sometimes we'll just do it together. You can use a dry erase marker on this and just wipe it off when you're done. And then on the back there are some review questions we go over, and then there's even more family activities. And so we do that. There's also a big color sheet that comes with each story. So you can kind of see that one. Sometimes what we'll do is I will actually split this in half, and each of my older ones will color a half, and then we'll tape it back together. And it's kind of fun to see what it looks like after they've each colored their own part. Or sometimes we'll just skip the coloring, and we will do something else. If there's another activity on the back, like I said, there's some family fun things. Sometimes we do some of those. Sometimes we're running behind and we just don't have time. And I anticipate that next year we're probably not going to do these as much for the curriculum. I don't mind if they use these to color for fun, but during our Bible lesson we probably won't, because we are going to be doing something new as well, and that is where this comes in. And this is called Draw to Learn the Life of Jesus, and this is by Charlene Notgrass. And this is a really interesting curriculum, and I cannot remember whose, I know that's really bad of me, I can't remember whose channel I watched that had this on there, but this is where I found it. I had never heard of it before. And I was like, wow, that's really awesome. I think my kids would like this. So, this is specifically created for homeschooling families. And the first pages talk about the curriculum itself, how to use it, says what ages can use the curriculum. Obviously, if you have older kids, they can just use it on their own, but you can use it as a family, you know, which is what we'll be doing, you know, using as a group. It talks about why there are 150 lessons, suggestions for drawing the pictures. They really want you, or at least the child that's doing this lesson, to really focus on their picture while they're drawing. This isn't a quick thing to draw. When we did the Grapevine Bible studies, which I really liked, it was more, you know, draw the picture quickly. It wasn't necessarily focused on the detail in the picture. This one is more focusing on detail. They want the child to use what they have learned from the Bible passage to create their picture, which is what I'm going to show you here. So it, you know, like I said, it goes into a lot of detail about what or how to use the curriculum. So the first lesson, and it's not necessarily, this isn't like starting from Genesis going all the way through the Bible. So lesson 1 says he was with God in the beginning. And so the verse, or the passage you're to read, is John 1 verses 1 to 14, and it says, read, at the bottom it says, read John chapter 1 verses 1 to 14. Think about Jesus being with God at the very beginning. Think about the world being made through Jesus. Draw a view of the earth from space. And so you read the passage, you know, you can have a discussion with the child, and then they are to use this frame for their picture. And like in the beginning, if you were to get this and read, you would see where it says they want the child to be very thorough so that they are they're connecting what they've heard to something visual for it to stick a little bit better. And so lesson 2 is God sent an angel to Mary. So we're not just like I said, we're not starting from Genesis and going all the way, but it's nice because there's not like a lesson plan. It just tells you on the bottom what to read, what to think about, and then you have the child draw. Now they say the lesson should last at least 45 minutes, if not longer. I can totally see that for older kids. For my younger ones, it's probably not going to be that long. But we definitely do spend at least 30 minutes on Bible in the morning, so I think 30 minutes will work well for them. And so most of it is drawing. There are a couple times where there's actually, here, like on this one, there's a word. So it says faith, and it tells down here to, let's see, draw 100 stick soldiers around the word faith. So you're reading the passage, you're talking about what happened in the passage, and then they're doing that. Now there's not as many of those. Most of it is them just drawing, but there are, every once in a while, there are ones where they kind of direct you on what to draw. But I'm really excited about this because it's a very open-ended, very laid-back kind of thing. I like that the kids get to use their imagination on what they want to draw, you know, within the realm of, you know, being kind of accurate to the passage. I know my son will probably want to, like, draw TIE fighters or X-Wings or Darth Vader, but, you know, got to try to rein them in sometimes. So we're definitely going to do this, and I'm still trying to figure out how we're going to go back and forth. This is 150 lessons because they assume you're going to do 180 days, and they give you about 30 days off so that you can do other things, you know, field trips, or you know, if something happens, a kid gets sick, or, you know, vacations, things like that. So I'm not sure yet how we're going to go do these, if we're going to just go back and forth. So, you know, do one of these and then do one of these. We might do that just to kind of mix it up. We've done quite a bit of these already. We're just continuing to use them until we're done using them. And we'll do the same with this. If we don't get through this in the next school year, we will just continue to use it for the 2018-2019 school year. So, like I said, I'm really excited about using this. I think my kids are really going to like that. The next thing is music, and a viewer, one of my subscribers, actually mentioned these, and I went out right away and checked on Amazon and bought them, and I'm really excited. And somebody, I can't remember the name, but somebody asked me how I teach my kids music. And so I'll show you these, and I'll kind of give you an idea of how I teach music. It's very simple. We have not got into anything really in depth because, like I said, this year I had a first grader and a kindergartner. So these are published by, let me see, Alfred Music Publishing. And this is Music Theory Made Easy for Kids, Level 1. And this one is my first music theory book. And so we started with this one because this is more of a beginning one. There's obviously, this is level 1, so there are other levels. I wasn't sure when I bought these because there weren't any pictures on Amazon for me to see inside. I wasn't sure which one I should pick. They were rather inexpensive, so I went ahead and bought them. And then that's when I saw that this one, the Music Theory Made Easy for Kids, is a little bit more for the beginner than my first music theory book. So when you open this up, you'll see that you can kind of see probably like I've torn something out, and I have torn something out. This comes with stickers, and we've already used them because we've been using it this year. These stickers correspond to lessons in the book, and it comes with 2 charts, basically because this would be for like American, what's the word? How we talk about the names of the notes and stuff like that. I don't know if it's an American thing or if, I think it is, because this one here, the names of the note, you've got different names, like one's a crotchet, and I know that they use that in Australia, like hemi-demi semiquaver and stuff like that. Those are the names of notes in Australia, but I'm sure it's not just for you know, Australia. It could be a European thing. But anyway, it came with two sets, and I think that might be the only difference right there. There's just one activity. This was on 6B, and we didn't even use those, so it actually worked out because both of my kids were able to utilize the stickers. So how I teach music is, we started out with this page, which talks about the name of the note. We have a visual of the note, and then we know what the count for that note is. And so we talked about that, and I drew them on our dry erase board. And over here on this page, what they are to do is paste the sticker with the same note value. So there were stickers, and they would paste it here. So if there was a sticker with a 2, they would put it here because this is a half note's worth 2, and on and on. And so this whole book has different activities like that. And so what we do is we'll do a work page. We will do some work on the dry erase board. I'll put the notes up, and I'll have the kids name them for me, and then we'll do some like clapping rhythms and things like that. You know, I can put 4 quarter notes, so I want you to clap that rhythm, and we'll clap that rhythm, or you know, a half note and 2 quarter notes, and on and on. And so they're not only singing the note and knowing what the note is, but they're kind of getting an idea of how that note works in at least 4/4 time. We're not doing any other key signatures or time signatures rather than 4/4. And so, you know, it kind of builds upon itself as the book continues. You get into dotted notes, so you've got a dotted half note, and there's little games. So here we're talking about the note names themselves. So, you know, here's C and here's D. Very, very, very basic. And we go very slowly with this. My son, who will be in 2nd grade next year, is also taking trumpet lessons from my husband. My husband is a musician, and so he will be having regular trumpet lessons starting in the fall, and that's going to kind of, hopefully doing a little bit of this is going to help. You know, this is not real intensive music curriculum. It's, you know, I just want them to know a bit of theory, especially before they jump into possibly playing an instrument. You know, because we talked about having them do piano as well, but I like the idea of them doing theory. I know a lot of music curriculum for homeschoolers is just mainly talking about composers, and that's fine. You know, we will definitely do that, but this little, I really wanted them to be more interested in rhythm and music, or not necessarily more interested, but I wanted to do something that was more about rhythm and music theory itself. So we will probably stick with a lot of just music theory throughout the elementary years, and we probably will not get into like composers and things like that until about middle school. I mean, there's plenty of time to go over all that stuff. Now this book, like I said, is a little bit more advanced than the other, and it's not as colorful either. So for instance, this is the this talks about the contents and what's included, and the very first lesson here, if you can see that, is about treble and bass clef. So they practice writing the treble clef sign and the bass clef sign. And then the next one, you've got, you know, your number of counts. Same with that. It's a little more, some more activities. Here we have write the counts in each measure. So it's a little bit more in depth than the other one. So that's why I went with this one first. And then I'll check out the other levels on this before we jump to this. But I'm sure we'll be using all of these. Let's see. I'm going to put this off to the side. And then our art. We are just... you know, I was going to continue with artistic pursuits. This is a really great curriculum. Really great. The thing for me is that I have a preschooler that is going to be joining us next year for at least 3 days out of the week. And this is not really something that would be for him. And I'm going to hold on to this because I plan on using this again as the kids are older. I just feel like, even though this is early elementary, K to 3, I feel like the appreciation of the art is kind of lost on them. I like the idea of using real artistic medium or art medium, but I feel like they're not really grasping the lessons the way that they're intended. So for instance, like this one, we're looking at a composition and we're talking about it, not saying that I don't want to introduce them to real pieces of art, but we just struggled a little bit with this curriculum. My son's a kind of a perfectionist, so it kind of bothers him when he can't get things right. And my daughters kind of struggle with that too, even though she's not a perfectionist. And so I feel like I said, we're going to keep this book and we will use it again. But some, especially the farther you get in the curriculum, some of the lessons are a little more intensive than I was planning on for my kids. And I'm trying to really do things more simply this next year. Like I said, I'm going to have a preschooler, and so things are going to have to be kind of not necessarily made just for him, but you know, he will probably want to join us in art. He did all this here anyway, even when he wasn't doing school, and it caused a little bit of a fight because he wanted to do it, and you know, it wasn't necessarily, we weren't set up to accommodate him. I had bought art materials for my other two and not for him, and so it was kind of a struggle. And so I want to show you what I plan on using. Let's see if I can find it. Okay. Alrighty, so what I am going to be trying to do more of this year with my kids, first, we're going to be using this step-by-step drawing book. My kids are really interested in drawing, and I found this Usborne book on Amazon, and I'm excited about this one because I can't draw, and I feel like I can do this. So basically, like for number 1, this is how to draw a dog. So it shows you step by step what part you need to draw a dog, to complete your dog. And then it shows different variations that you can do, and it gives you a space to do it. And then every single page is the same. This one's how to draw a car. This is how to draw a rabbit. And you have all sorts of things. How to draw a robot. My daughter did this one the other day. How to draw a bug. She's like, I really want to learn how to draw a bug. Okay. This is super cute. How to draw a dragon. They're so, so cute. And so, I think I'm still trying to decide how I'm going to teach this. If I'm going to do these steps on the board and have them have their own papers, or if I'm going to copy this for them and so that they can have their own to look at while they're drawing. But this won't be something we do every day or every time we do art, but we're definitely going to be heavily focusing on drawing. My son's always been very interested in drawing. I didn't think my daughter was, but just recently she really started an interest in drawing, and so I kind of want to foster that because I'm not really artistically inclined, and I want them to have a little bit of confidence. I also picked this book up. This is an oldie but a goodie. I picked this book up at a thrift store. It's called Storytime Crafts, and I love it because it has these different themes, storytime themes. And so, you know, you pick whatever theme you want to start with. You don't have to start at the beginning. It talks about, here it talks about storytelling to young children, you know, using like the right kind of voice and stuff like that. Stories to tell. These are, so we're talking about this, the first one, I'm pretty sure, yeah, the first section is Africa. So these are, that's the theme, and it talks about before sharing the books, and then the activities, other books to share, and then it shows the craft. So this one's animal babies and books to share in the craft. Ants, books to share in the craft. There's songs that go along with it too. Apples. And so we could definitely pick out different themes and then, you know, pick out any of these books down here to read and then do the craft as part of our art. You know, and then that kind of also, you know, includes a read aloud time, which I think it would be fun to do, especially with having my 4-year-old with us next year. So that is our Bible, art, and music curriculums that we will be using for next year. I will try to post the links for where I found all of these in the description box. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I will see you all next time. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and have a great week. Bye.